So what makes a great speech? A great speech moves people from one place to another. And the morning of the 8th of May, I heard a great speech. And it came from the lips of Nick Clegg. Nick Clegg proudly asserted, amidst the carnage, the value of liberalism, the vitality of liberalism to our nation, and how important it is that we all fought to defend it, and how proud he should rightly be, and we should rightly be, of what we achieved these last 5 years. Be proud of the fact that the pupil premium, that is the policy that funnels hundreds of millions of pounds to the very schools that Tories, by definition, don't send their kids to. £8 billion for green energy against a government, our coalition partner at the time, that thinks all that stuff is green crap. But you know what makes me most proud? Nick Clegg went in 2010 and fought hard and expended vast amounts of political capital on making sure that we ended, on our watch, the detention of children for asylum purposes. What that meant was that Nick went in and expended that political and personal capital to get something that will make a massive difference, an unspeakable difference to those 5,000 young people, none of whom will have known it was Nick Clegg who did it. Not a single person out there gave us their vote because we did it, and he knew that when he went into that room and he fought for it. That is a measure of the integrity of the party and of the man that I am still proud today to call my leader. And I said great speeches move people. That speech moved people. 18,000 people and counting, who chose in response to that clarion call to join the Liberal Democrats. Now, maybe, no one's already done the audience participation. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Hands up if you're a new member. Right, so you may have gone on tonight to find out what you can do for the party, and don't worry, we're going to tell you. But I want you to know you have done an immense amount so far. So I went into headquarters the Tuesday after polling day, and I expected to be putting my arm around a bunch of broken and demoralised people at headquarters. I did not find broken and demoralised people at headquarters. I found people uplifted by you. You have done an enormous amount for us already in boosting a broken party to refuse to stay broken. So be proud. But on the 7th of May, this party was sent by the electorate into the wilderness. And the only thing that matters in this leadership contest is how do we get out of the wilderness. You have got, I understand, 65 questions for us later. I have one question for you. Do you want to win? Yes. Do you want to win? Yes. Because if you want to win, I am your man. I am standing in this election because I am not having the party of Grimond, Penhaligon and Charles Kennedy die on my watch. What drives you, what's it all about? Well, I could tell you what I want to do is lead this party to be the vanguard that defends the Human Rights Act and civil liberties in this country. I could tell you that I wanted this party to be led by me as being the vanguard for tackling the housing crisis in this country and the appalling Cameron sell-off of our housing association properties. A spirited and inspiring campaign led by this party to tackle the existential threat of climate change, and all of those things will be true, but the thing that drives me is actually my experience in my childhood. So I grew up a few miles north of here, a place called Preston, and I grew up born in 1970, grew up during a period of significant hardship. Me and my little sister were brought up by my mother, who was a single mother, and we knew a significant amount of poverty. Half the kids in my class, including us, spent time with their parents out of work one time or another. And the measure of a brilliant parent is that you never realise you were poor until later, a lot later. And I remember washing up with my mum the day of my grandmother's funeral when I was in my late 20s. And my grandmother's ring had been melted already into my grave. And I asked my mum, I said, I know you bought it down when I was 5. What did you do with the wedding? Where are you wedding? She looked at me. And we've come back under Joe Grimley, under David Steele, under Paddy Ashdown. And we never came back by accident, but by design. And here's the rub. So yeah, you look at the Queen's Speech, you look at the attack on civil liberties, you look at the attack on housing, on welfare benefits, and you realise never has there been more need for a liberal voice in British politics. So the survival and the thriving of this political movement is absolutely essential. And not inevitable. Not inevitable. We have to earn our way back to the top table, and it will take every one of us to fight and to make sure that that happens. And it is not good enough just for one for the Liberal Democrats to survive. You have to have a plan to make it so. So look, you are looking at the only Liberal Democrat candidate in the election on the 7th of October. And in the European elections, only exactly the European elections a year ago, the only places when Land Britain where the Liberal Democrats came through. And those shockingly, possibly irritating police commissioner elections we had 3.5 years ago, we came top in those as well. In 2007 for similar reasons as us. Do you know what happened 7 years later? Last year they came top of the poll. There is a way back if we learn and if we build and have the infrastructure to deserve the right to return to the top table. So, I've talked a bit about what drives me, what I want to do, how I want to do it. Final couple of words really. Tomorrow, many of us will make the journey to Glasgow to celebrate the life of Charles Kennedy and to honour him. And I just want to spend a moment reflecting on Charles Kennedy. Because I talk about great speeches, he was a great man and a great politician. And here's why. 3 reasons. First, he was human. He spoke to people in a language that they understood. He was not spun. There are people in this room who I know have tried to put Charles Kennedy on message, and they must have been pulling their hair out all the way. But Charles Kennedy was always on message, but it was his message. His message. I was once, I knew Charles really after he became leader. He became a good friend after he became leader. And he offered me much advice over the years, most of it completely unrepeatable. But what I'll tell you, when I first went on any questions, I asked him, what should I do? He said, Tim, be yourself. Be yourself. Charles Kennedy was himself, and he connected through the living rooms of every single house in this country. So he was human. Second, he was principled. It is easy to look back from 12 years hence and think opposition to the Iraq War was the easy, political, populist option. It was not. In 2003, he was bayed at, he was heckled, he was mocked, he was shouted down by Labour and Tories alike who called him Charlie Chamberlain, called him the traitor. And on the front page of the Murdoch press there was Charles's face, superimposed on a rattlesnake, the slippery traitor, Charles Kennedy. And he stood firm, he was principled, and we were proud of him, and we are still proud of him. Human, principled, effective. Effective. Charles Kennedy led us to our largest number of seats since Lloyd George's day, and I want to suggest to you in closing that those 3 things are connected. Human, principled, and effective. We have just gone through an election where the bad guys won. I absolutely refute the hypothesis that only the bad guys can be ruthless and effective. I want the Liberal Democrats to win. We don't need one new leader, we need 62,000 leaders, and I'm looking at 1,200 of them now. Liberal Britain must return. The British people deserve us to win. I need you to make it so. Don't let us down. Thank you.